What is up, you guys? We are back again today with another post from the Neville Sub. This one is called How to Perfectly Use the Law. Here it is. Sorry for the absence. Okay, this is a little bit of an intro, traveling to Europe, talking about COVID. Okay, apologize. So now, to make one thing clear, I've never used anything but Neville's techniques in the realization of my earthly desires. More specifically, I've only used this technique of sensory vividness and enactment of scenes. Unfortunately, by beginning my post with that, I fear that I will turn away many people that have either tried this technique and failed or believe they do not contain the ability to visualize in the way Neville teaches. Because of this restriction, I'd like to make a few things clear. 1, I don't believe in the overcomplication of concepts this subreddit and some members of this sub have created over the past few years. If you were to look when I originally began posting in late 2017, you will notice a stark difference in the terms and techniques people peddle here. Okay, may work for some, but I believe the simple technique that Neville taught worked well for all. 2, some question how this process worked or what is necessary to gain results. I'll tell you exactly what and how results are achieved, and it's painfully simple. Total self-persuasion. You must completely believe that you have what you desire and that it is a reality now. Many people will look at that prerequisite to attaining your desires as the largest obstacle known to mankind, but I'd like to soothe your worries. I've said this before, and I'll give it a greater emphasis now. Self-persuasion is a gift from God if you do the technique. 3, sin is defined as not attaining your goals, not being the man, woman you want to be. The only way you could ever sin is if you do not believe you're the person you want to be right now. 4, I don't believe in any other technique or interpretation of Neville's techniques other than the one I outline in this post. That's for one simple reason. I truly believe that for the majority of people, you're not able to complete the one requirement, self-persuasion, with these other techniques, be it saying a phrase to yourself as you fall asleep or thinking about the person you want to be a few moments during the day. This may have worked for Neville or a few people in his case histories, but that is only because they have years and years, in cases decades, of success with the law, that they have unwavering faith in its pervasiveness and power. Interesting. Okay, 5. I am going to tell you what has worked for me. If you have another technique that works for you, congrats. But for most people, this original technique that Neville shared is the one I believe the majority of people will find success with. 6, it's never taken longer than 2 weeks from starting this technique for a certain goal for me to see the start of the harvest, and no longer than 1 month to see the full realization of the goal. I've had countless times where it has taken less than 12 hours to see the full realization of a goal, of which the majority of that time is time that I slept. 7, it may sound counterintuitive, but stop reading Neville, listening to Neville, or visiting this subreddit after you read this. I fear that many keep being a hearer of the law in an attempt to find some magic end-all technique and never actually practice the law. Like Neville has said countless times, actual practice benefits you far more than hearing ever will. Yes, as simple as it seems, don't overcomplicate it. He said, yes, it's as simple as it seems, don't overcomplicate it. Now, on to the simple and perfect technique. So this is outlined in bullet points here. 1, know exactly what you want. Not a general idea, but something specific and exact that perfectly reflects your true desire. If you want your dream body, know what it will look like. If you want a certain sum of money, know how much down to the dollar. If you want a partner, know who you want. If you want a certain job, know exactly what you would do and where you would work, etc. 2, ask yourself, what would you be feeling if you were who you want to be right now? By feeling, it is meant an innate level of awareness. Where would your mind be if you were the person you wanted to be? How would you think in relation to the world in your new state? 3, create a scene that would imply that you've already achieved your goal and that it is in the past, something that you can add sensory vividness and tones of reality to. 4, get ready for bed before the time you usually become sleepy and get ready to induce a sleepy state. Lie in your bed and calm yourself. Many years ago, I suggested that you put your hands underneath your butt to focus on something to induce this state. Practice has taught me, though, that personally I can get in a drowsy state best by lying down in a fetal position. If you've not been successful in using this technique, I suggest putting yourself in a position that you would not usually fall asleep in. For example, if you usually fall asleep by sleeping on your left side, lie on your back, and vice versa. 5, as you induce this sleepy state, you'll notice a floating feeling, one that is both physical and mental. Keep your mind clear, but do not become so drowsy that you fall asleep. Something that I've noticed while applying this law throughout the years is that I feel I can just imagine random things to get into a drowsy state to begin my scene. This is a trap, and more likely than not, you do this every night, and it is a habit of yours. For me, whenever I do this, I always fall asleep before I can even think to begin my scene. Do not become distracted. Calm yourself with the intent of doing your scene, and do not let your mind wander onto other things. 6, begin enacting your scene and begin enacting it in first person. While it will be as vivid as the room you are in now, while it will not be as vivid as the room you're in now, it does not matter. Yes, you heard me right. Your scene does not need to become as vivid as the life you're living right now to become a reality. Continue enacting your scene and focus on a new detail each time you loop it. If you cannot add tones of reality and sensory vividness in the beginning, use a trick I've used in the past. Tell yourself that what you're seeing is real. Narrate what is in front of you and what you are touching, and feel that it is true and real. There is no way I can explain this feeling other than pretending that what you are imagining right now is real. Just try it. Don't worry about if you're applying it right. Just imagine that it is true. Just think that you are seeing what you want to see. 7, keep yourself in the scene and do not worry about anything else. Remain faithful to the scene by repeating it over and over. Soon, you will actually feel as if you are in the place you imagine. And eventually, you will fall asleep in that state. If you worry about not being able to fall asleep or think about how alert you are, you will stay alert and unable to fall asleep. Focus on the scene and making it as real as possible. 8, if you kept the scene repeating and legitimately tried adding as much sensory vividness as possible, you should wake up with a feeling that it is done. This is the gift from God I was speaking about earlier. If you do not have this feeling, imagine that you do and continue the process in the next night. Experience has taught me, however, that if you legitimately try the technique to the best of your abilities, you will wake up with this feeling of your desire already existing. This is the technique that I employ, and as of late, I have never woken up without feeling that it is done. The most important thing is to try. Continually try and do the best you can. Don't worry about reading Neville during the day and fear that you have missed something. Just do the technique at night and be amazed at how quickly your world changes. As always, please give me questions down below and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. I will also create a post of all my notable successes soon, including a white label health and wellness business here in Greece and making at least $25,000 a month, even with COVID impacting businesses here. I'm on track to personally profit $45,000 this month, and I expect even higher profits once I can open physical locations. Remember, you are God, which makes you the operative power. You just need to use your power in order to succeed. Stop worrying that you're missing something and just use it. Yeah. Interesting post here. I'm just looking through the comments. So Galactic Mind asks a good question. When I get that feeling that it is done the next morning, do I keep repeating the process until it physically manifests? And what do you think of manifesting multiple things? Do I alternate nights or can you do only one at a time? Love the post. Thanks a lot. So the OP responds, if you feel that you need to, then yes, repeat the technique. However, if you still feel as if it is done, there is no need to repeat it. I usually only focus on one desire at once. You are able to create a scene that implies a fulfillment of multiple desires, though. Okay, then we got another comment. For anyone who finds their way here, I would just add this. Don't worry about how good or effective your work is here as you begin. Don't worry if you are doing your programming right or correctly. Like learning anything, say how to play an instrument or language or a game, just keep at it and it will come. Don't get discouraged. Follow this technique. Good luck to all. Did this technique exactly how you described it these last 2 days and already got some results. It all comes down to consistency, faith, and trusting the process. Yeah, I mean, this is a good post. there's quite a few things in here that are adding, in my viewpoint, into the success that this person's getting with this. One of the things, like, yeah, stop worrying that you're missing something and just use it. That overthinking, that worrying if you're doing it right, is counterproductive. You have to trust, you have to persuade yourself, is the words that he used too. Persuade yourself not only that you're doing it right, but to persuade yourself that it's working, and to persuade yourself that it's possible. Because if you're doubting, it's the same way, like people will undergo hypnosis, therapeutic hypnosis, to get rid of addictions or whatever it might be. And the people that question it and they question the validity of it, it doesn't work for them. And there's people on stage, right, under stage hypnosis, like it doesn't work for those people because they're questioning it constantly. They're like overthinking. They're like, oh no, is this working? Like, I don't think this works. I don't believe in it. This is hogwash, whatever. And then it's like the same can be said with the placebo effect. People that take placebo pills get results because there is something mysterious about the way that we're interacting with the 4D, right? We believe that placebo is effective, and then we get healed inside. And the people that know that it's a placebo or whatever, they don't get healed because they don't believe it. And that's what's so magical and mysterious about this. And that's like, yeah, we don't have the science really to prove all of this in categorically explain every single all the ins and outs of how this works. But for whatever reason, that is. And so what he says here is that enacting the scenes, trusting, knowing that it's working. So he just is using this one process at night, doing it and trusting that it's working and feeling it and really feeling this is done. And I think people get tripped up on the feeling that it is done. The language, especially the English language, is not always perfectly suited to describing complexities and abstract concepts. And what I would liken this to, the best that I can describe this as, look, there's obviously that we're talking about the 4D, right? When we're talking about imagining the inner world, I guess you could call it also. The world that we are picturing. But then there's the outer world, the 3D. And I just think that getting caught up whether it is done or it is going to come is kind of futile, because to me it's the same thing. What I'm thinking is, when you are seeing this and you envision it with such clarity, and you get that knowing that, ooh, that exists in the 4D right now. That's what I think the feeling is, that it is done. You get that feeling. It's just like this knowing that, yes, like this is it. This is powerful. I have imprinted the 4D with this image. It's like burned in, and it's coming. And that's what I'm saying, is that the word "it's coming" or "it's going to happen," it's the same thing, because when it reflects in the 3D, it is done. Like, it will have occurred. But whether you say it's coming or it's already done, it's like, I think that that's just getting lost in the sauce. And really, just as long as you have that strong feeling that, yes, I have conceived this, I have imagined it, I've put out the intention, and the universe has now received it. It is imprinted into the ether, or the cosmic substance source, which everything comes from. Now you're like, yes, you're walking with that faith that, yes, this is attainable. If I align myself with this channel, because there's all these parallel realities going on at once, then that path is open and available to me. But again, that's where action comes in. If you're not taking any of the actions, let's say that your goal, like this person talking about, he has this business, right, in Greece. But if he's not showing up to his business and taking in patients, I think he's talking about how he has a, let's see here, white label health and wellness business. If he's not actually healing his patients or serving his clients, then he's not going to make the 45K that he just made this month, right, guys? I want us to be on the same page with this. It's like that possibility, once he's had that imaginal act and felt it real in his mind, that this is happening, this is done, whatever word you want to use there, it's been imprinted, then he's showing up to work too, to follow along and following the nudges that he gets, and the intuitive kind of intuition that he gets into what moves to make in his business, where to show up, where to put most of his energy, most of his time into, who to hire, all of these different things. There are moving parts with his business, and that's how this is happening. It's not just simply imagining this stuff and then like not doing anything. So it goes hand in hand. I mean, I really think that just warrants repeating. I think a lot of people think that they want to have success and they want to just do this without doing anything, without lifting a finger, as Neville has said. And I think that's caused a lot of confusion for people more than anything else. So I want people to, I really do think it would be helpful if this person and other people in these subreddits would also give us a quick rundown of what happened after that. Like, okay, so you used this power, but then how exactly did it transpire? Like, then you got this opportunity, right? There is a book called The Magic of the Mind by a woman named Louise Burleigh. And in that book, she was a student of Neville's. And in that book is outlined not only what imaginal techniques that she used, but then the intuition and how these things came about. And I think that can be helpful to some people that might be struggling knowing, well, what action should I take? And do I take action? Like, of course you need to take action. The question being, sometimes seeing examples really helps. And that's why in some of my videos, I really try to break down and give multiple examples. But in this book that I'm talking about by this woman named Louise Burleigh, she breaks down kind of what intuition she received and then how the event actually transpired, whether it was getting a house or, getting this career of her dreams that she wanted. And she breaks down step by step what actions she then took from there that then generated and saw the fulfillment of the end of her goal. And like I said, guys, it really does go hand in hand, and it's something that you learn through experience. But like I said, I recommend checking that book out if that's something that you are struggling with, is knowing what actions to take, feeling like you're doing this inner work, but feeling lost when it comes to what inspired action, what that's all about. That being said, guys, much love as always. I do think that this post is a really good post though, and maybe worth checking out again. Like they said, tuning out other things, just going with one thing. If you feel drawn to this, test this out, test this technique out, give it a shot, just like he outlined here, and see how it works, because it might really, really work for you. A lot of people have different processes that they are drawn to, that they feel are easier. We talk about robotic affirming here. Clearly, this visualization before bed is working for him. And like I said, guys, it really is just picking one thing, doing it with consistency. And the self-persuasion that they talk about here is imperative. It's at the foundation of this. Do you believe that this is working for you? Do you actually get that feeling, that knowingness that it's happening? Anyways, guys, much love as always. Drop me with a like, drop me with a comment. Let me know what you think about this video, this technique, any of the stuff we discussed here today. And with that being said, guys, hit me with the subscribe as well, and I will see you in the next video.